Hello and welcome in.
Please do not leave your luggage unattended on the station.
Welcome to the show. Good morning. How's it going, everybody? Jesse Montaño here, back at the desk in the Guerilla Sports Studios. Feels nice. I always, it's so funny because it's nice in the mornings when you don't have to be on the morning show. You don't have to worry about, running and making sure that you got everything pulled together and get to the studio and all of that. But I do miss talking to you folks in the mornings when I'm not here. So it's great to be back. Great to be back sitting behind the desk. Thursday, Friday, Junior. Today, August 22nd, and we are barreling towards the official start of seasons, of preseasons. NBA and NHL training camps are getting closer and closer and closer, and it really does. It feels like we've made it. It feels like we have made it through the dead of the sports summer. Even after we had the Euro Cup, Copa America, we had the Olympics. They were great. They helped get us through, and it feels like we've made it. It feels like we've come out the other side. We're going to get into Denver Broncos, NFL, who they're naming for their starters. Well, starter, Sean Payton was specific to say he wasn't going to go beyond the one naming. Gabe Landeskog in the Colorado Avalanche, major updates there. Really the first updates that we've gotten since the end of the season that feel like there's anything of substance, so we're going to talk about that. Cristiano Ronaldo, there's a whole lot to unpack there, I guess. College football kicking off this weekend. We'll touch a little bit on that. That's part of the reason why I'm saying it feels like we've made it. We'll talk about that just a little bit. And then Jamal Murray continues to be a topic of conversation here in Denver. We had Katie Wingy here in our studios yesterday who had some thoughts on Jamal Murray and what he needs to do going forward after. Look, let's just be blunt about it. It was a rough end of the season, a rough playoffs, and a rough Olympics for Jamal Murray, who is a key part of this Denver, I almost said Broncos, Denver Nuggets, not just their offense, but everything that they do. He's a leader. He sets the tone for that group, especially come playoff time. He seems to be really that kind of emotional heartbeat of the team. We'll talk a little bit about that as well and what Jamal Murray is staring down the barrel of. So real Denver heavy day today on Guerilla Sports Daily. But hey, that's all right. We're getting closer and closer to the season getting going. And there's going to be more and more news continuing to flood in. Jay back there running the board again today. There he is. Thursday morning. Jeez, oh my gosh. Jay, of course, back behind the desk on Monday. But let's get into things here. Bo Nix. That's right. Bo Nix is your QB1 for the Denver Broncos. Few quarterbacks, no rookie quarterbacks have looked better than Bo Nix in the preseason, maybe save for Caleb Williams. But Bo Nix is the higher graded rookie quarterback. He's actually the highest graded rookie, according to PFF, so far in the preseason. Sean Payton has said that he's seen everything he needs to see out of Bo Nix, and that he's already had the discussions with Jared Stidham, with Zach Wilson, and that he is looking at those two veteran quarterbacks to be the backup for Bo Nix and be a resource for him. The other thing of note here, Sean Payton mentioned yesterday, this does not mean that because Bo Nix is the starter week 1, is absolutely no guarantee that he's going to be the starter in week 17, that he's got to earn that every single day. But Sean Payton did have some high praise for Bo Nix when naming him the starter. Let's hear from Sean Payton yesterday after practice. Well, there you go. As I'm echoing now in here, I take that as a massive vote of confidence from Sean Payton, a guy who's a more veteran coach, that really him even naming a starter, let alone Bo Nix, a rookie, with still one preseason game to go, with a week and a half, almost 2 weeks to go before the regular season opens. I think this was a move that caught a lot of folks off guard. Is that the right phrase? Caught him a little off guard that Sean Payton was willing to put such a full-throated endorsement behind Bo Nix to be the starter. Now, again, we didn't hear it in that clip, but he does go on in that press conference yesterday to talk about the fact that Bo Nix has earned this, but he has to continue earning this every single day going forward. Now, I've been on a couple of our Broncos shows here at Guerilla Sports, chopping it up with Nate Jackson and Brandon Cristal and my good friend D-Mac over from Altitude Sports Radio. And I have been of the opinion, I know this isn't going to be a popular one, I don't think Bo Nix should be starting week 1. Not because I don't think he's going to be a good quarterback, not because I don't think he's looked good. I think Bo Nix I think there's a couple things that Bo Nix has done for the Broncos and this fan base in just a few weeks. I think he's shown that, yes, he many more college games than a lot of the other quarterbacks who went in this last year's draft. So, yes, he's more experienced, and I think he's kind of shown a little bit more mature, a little bit more experienced, and just a little bit more poise. So I think he's done that. The most important thing I think he's done for not just Bronco fans, but for the organization in its entirety is provide some hope. It feels like for the last nearly 10 years, 2015 was when the Denver Broncos won Super Bowl 50. It feels like there has been this endless carousel, not just of quarterbacks, but of hopelessness. And that there was no light at the end of the tunnel. So me saying I think Bo Nix has impressed and shown maturity, and then me saying I think that he's given hope, doesn't really line up with me saying that I don't think he should be the week 1 starter. The reason for that is look, I know people are optimistic. And I know that, again, that hope is infectious. At the end of the day, this is still a Broncos team that's staring down an over-under of 4.5. That is widely considered to be one of the bottom 3 teams in the league based on their roster. There's so much inexperience that you really just don't know what you're going to get. The Broncos are rebuilding. Let me say that again. The Denver Broncos are rebuilding. And that's a good thing. That's how you build winning teams, championship teams, winning culture. And I worry for a young player like Bo Nix that he's going to go out there with the hopes and dreams of a fan base on his shoulders, the expectations of an entire organization on his mind, and he's going to go out and get his first dose of full speed, all starters in the NFL. And what you don't want to do with a player showing as much promise and giving as much hope as Bo Nix is to go out there and ruin them in a month. You don't want this kid to get beat down, his head kicked in every night, because the team around him, while there's optimism and while there's things to be excited about, odds are the roster just isn't quite where it needs to be yet. But again, I'm telling you, that's okay. In fact, I would even go as far to say that's probably part of the plan. Bo Nix, I think, is exciting. And look, at the end of the day, I think he's going to be the starter. And I think it might be rough. It might be a tough first season for him, but you hope he learns and grows no matter what. And I think the mental fortitude that he has shown so far with this type of pressure bodes well for what I'm talking about. Being able to withstand the gauntlet that is your first professional season. The expectations that are elevated. And like I said, the weight of an entire fan base who has fresh memories of Peyton Manning and distant memories of Sean, the Peytons and the Seans are all stuck in my head. John Elway. This will be the first rookie quarterback to start for the Denver Broncos in week 1 since John Elway, who, keep in mind, was not drafted by the Denver Broncos, but instead traded immediately after the draft because he didn't want to play for the Indianapolis Colts. I have been advocating that Bo Nix sit on the sidelines for the first couple of weeks. Let him learn from the veterans. Let him watch at full speed, this, that, and the other. That's not happening. We're going to have to see how this works out. I hope for Bo Nix it does. He seems like a great guy with his head on right who wants to make a difference. Here's the last thing that I'm going to say about Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos. I want everybody to remember, let's even say that what I just predicted doesn't really come to pass, that Bo Nix doesn't struggle, that Bo Nix makes the transition seamlessly, and that he's not out there getting beaten down and his confidence torn down week over week. Because of where this team is at roster-wise, there are going to be some weeks where the numbers aren't going to look great, where it's not going to feel super good coming out of that particular game, that particular week. Bo Nix's performance may not be what everyone was hoping for every single week, and that's okay. Again, the Broncos are rebuilding, and there's pain that comes along with that. As long as Bo Nix can work through it and grow from it, that's all you can ask for. So he's brought hope and optimism back to the city of Denver, and I think there's going to be genuine excitement when they open things up at home. Week 1's in Seattle against the Seahawks. But when they open things up at home, I think there's going to be a genuine buzz around the town and in the stadium, because for the first time since Peyton Manning got to town, and he was coming off the neck injury and no one really knew, but there was that optimism of, we have Peyton Manning here. This could be it. It's starting to feel similar with Bo Nix. Not that he's on the same level as Peyton Manning, but that there's Broncos fans starting to believe again. I think it's great to see. You hope that he can have a strong rookie year. Oh, the last thing I was going to say on him, I kind of missed my whole point there. He doesn't have to come out and be Patrick Mahomes to be effective. You don't have to be Josh Allen to be a legitimate starting quarterback in the NFL. He's not going to be perfect every week, but if he can be a set and forget starter that's going to give you a chance to be in the game every week, I think that's all the Broncos can ask for, especially if they can make one out of a guy who's a draft pick of theirs, homegrown, more or less. I think it would be huge for the organization, and I think it'd be huge for Bo Nix. So, like I said, I've wanted to see him sit in the wings because I think there's so much potential there, and I think there is so much optimism. I don't want to see him get beat down and lose that. But look, I was also told earlier this week, Jesse, you got to start drinking the Kool-Aid. The Broncos are on the up. I think they're on the up, but I think we're losing sight of the fact that they're rebuilding. Anxious to see what happens with Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos. I think you got to be feeling pretty good if you're the Denver Broncos, at least better than a lot of the other teams when you're looking around the uncertainty around Justin Herbert's health in LA, wanted to say San Diego. Gardner Minshew named the starter for the Raiders. I love the mustache. I love that he put out the training video to hire by Creed. Gardner Minshew seems like a great dude. Don't know if I'm ready to strap my Super Bowl hopes to him. So the Broncos are at least in a better spot than where some of their division rivals are sitting. We're talking optimism here. That's the theme of today's show. Optimism. Let's talk Gabe Landeskog if you want to talk optimism here. Gabe Landeskog makes a public appearance yesterday at the BMW Championship Pro-Am, which does kick off today, by the way, the BMW Championship down at Castle Pines Golf Course. Awesome to see the PGA back here. Wyndham Clark, Colorado kid, one of the favorites, among the favorites to have a good weekend here in Denver. But Gabe Landeskog participating in yesterday's Pro-Am, and we hadn't heard from Gabe since the end of the season, at which point we were told, yes, I'm feeling confident I'll be back. When I asked Gabe, do you have a rough sense when? He looked to PR and he said, when does training camp start? And they said, about the second week of September. And he looks back at me and he goes, all right, anywhere from the second week of September to the first week of April, which is the entire NHL regular season schedule, preseason and regular season schedule. So it was really this kind of wide range. And while he said that, we still went through the bulk of this summer with a little bit of uncertainty. Yes, we've seen Lonzo Ball and the progress that he's made in returning to 5-on-5 full contact activities, but that meant no guarantee for Gabe Landeskog. Some video surfaced last week of him skating at the Avs practice facility down in Centennial, where it looked like he was noticeably pushing himself harder, putting his body through more than we had seen at any point last season. But yesterday, Gabe Landeskog met with the assembled media at Castle Pines and provided the first real, legitimate update we've gotten maybe since he had the surgery.
Yeah, I feel really good. I mean, I'm progressing, and every day is, I'm attacking it, trying to get better and stronger and following the plan that's been put in place for me. And it's not so much if anymore, it's just more when. So I haven't come all this way to rush the final little bit. So trying to stay patient all the way and just check all the boxes I need to. But having said that, I feel really good. And today was the first round of golf I've walked. A challenging one as well, but walked in a long time and it felt really good. And obviously I'm skating it quite a few times and feel good.
When you talk about when, do you have an idea, or does the team have an idea of when you're going to start to be able to dial that in on the calendar?
No, I wish I had a better answer for you, but I've said it before, and like setting timelines, it just sets you up to be disappointed, to be honest. So I've stopped. Obviously I'd like to get back, sooner rather than later, but like I said, I need to feel good, and there's some boxes that I need to check before that and keep progressing, really. And I'm excited to get back into camp and see all the guys that are in town here in a few weeks and get after it. So it's good to be back and here. Amazing event, and Avs fans have come out and hollered at me all day and watched me shank my drivers left, right, and supported me. So it's been great. A lot of fun.
Sounds like you're encouraged.
Yeah. I feel good and I'm confident, and it's been a long road and it still is, and there's still a lot to be done, but I'm excited. I feel like a hockey player again, and it's just a matter of taking all the necessary steps, and I'd like to be able to play in game number one and home opener and whatnot, but we will see. We still got lots of time, and we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
You've been working on your putter?
My putter was hot today. That was about the only club today. 9 and 18, so hopefully you guys caught those, but doesn't matter. This was a bogey, but it still counts. But I had a lot of fun. My first ever Pro-Am. And
I want him to get back in the lineup so bad just so we can talk to him again every day. He is just an outstanding person. It's been a genuine bummer to not have him in that locker room these last 2 seasons. Even for us, the media, Gabe Landeskog is just such a treat to be able to chat with. Always so insightful, always willing to chat. And when we've seen him around this year, he was on a couple road trips. He was around the rink a lot. He was at some games. Always, just stopping and chatting it up with everybody. So I'm looking forward to it. But let's get into a little bit of what he actually talked about. I do have a funny story from the road this year. Man, I can't remember which city it is. It was East Coast, a little bit later in the year. And I had met a couple other media members out at the bar. And we'd had some drinks. And we went back to the hotel bar at my hotel. And I was running up to the room really fast to change or grab something. And I get on the elevator and I go up like 3-4 floors from the lobby, and it stops. And I was like, who's getting on at the 4th floor and going up? And the doors open and it was Gabe Landeskog. He was going up to the gym that was on like the 8th floor. And it was really funny because when elevator doors open, you technically never know who's going to be on the other side of it. And it was just always, it was really funny. I've also told the story about when we were at the All-Star game And same type of thing. So we were waiting for the elevator. We were waiting and waiting and waiting. The elevator doors open and 7 mascots piled off the elevator. That was a really funny one too. Gabe Landeskog used the phrase, it's a matter of when, not if. That, I mean, again, obviously that's a highly encouraging thing to say, but we have not heard any type of thing like that throughout this process. It has maintained. We're taking it slow. We'll see. We're taking it day by day. We're optimistic, but we're taking it day by day. Now, Gabe Landeskog did throw in something like that there in those quotes, where he said, like, look, we're still moving slow. We're still taking our time. But my goodness, him saying we're taking our time because we want to make sure we don't mess this up. We didn't come all this way to mess it up here in the home stretch. That to me is him saying, don't expect it for game 1, even though he does mention I'd love to be there for game 1 or the home opener, but I'm coming back and I'm going to make sure that I'm coming back the right way. And I couldn't agree with that more. You've been out 2 years. The last time we saw Gabe Landeskog, technically it was for the home opener the next season. But the last time we saw the Gabe Landeskog on skates in a game was Game 6 in Tampa Bay when the Avs won the Stanley Cup. He hasn't played since then. There is no need to try to cut a corner and shave a month off of the recovery time. Gabe Landeskog and everyone involved, is going to move as slow as they possibly need to make sure that he comes back healthy, ready to go, and can contribute in a way that he feels comfortable with. I think it was great to see him out there in such great spirits. I know he's been on the ice this week privately, and the rehab skates are just continuing as we get closer and closer to training camp. What I do think you can take from what he said there, I've been predicting that it'll be late December by the time he's back. I do think, based on the optimism from Gabe Landeskog there, that it is completely reasonable to say anywhere from the next 4 to 6 weeks, we are likely going to see Gabe Landeskog start to resume team activities. And I think that's really exciting. Jumping on with the group, maybe in a red jersey, participating a little bit more than we saw him last season, where he was just kind of passing and distributing pucks. I think this is an exciting update for him, for the Avalanche, and for those fans. And it just feels like, yes, there is still some uncertainty, but you're starting to feel optimistic. You're starting to feel hopeful that that spot that the Avs have been reserving for him this summer, and part of what's made this offseason so difficult for them, they're going to be rewarded for. So great to hear from Gabe Landeskog. I'm going to be doing a live Q&A at noon for the Avs for the NHL. So if we want to talk more about this, come back at noon. We'll be hanging out then. But super encouraging to hear from Gabe Landeskog. Shout out to our guys, Nate Lundy and Arif Dean from Mile High Sports for that video. You can check it out on Mile High Sports Twitter. Arif Dean, also a good buddy of ours, good buddy of Guerilla, wrote an article on it as well. So shout out to them. Great stuff to hear from the captain yesterday on the golf course. Moving on, we're going to run through a couple quick stories. Then I want to talk about Jamal Murray. College football kicking off this weekend. One game. It's just one game that we've got. And hold on. Florida State at Georgia Tech on Saturday, 10 a.m. Mountain Time here. And then really the bulk of college football games start on Thursday. Yes, there'll be some non-Division I play this weekend as well. But really the bulk of everything for NCAA kicks off next week. But we are down to single-digit days here. CSU will be kicking off against number 4 ranked Texas. We'll see how that one goes. That one will be down in Texas. But really just this is what I was referring to a little bit off the top of the show. This is kind of the official mark that we made it. 2 days from now, we will have a college football game that counts. That's real. That means something. And all eyes will be shifting to the football field. And here in Colorado, while they don't play this weekend, all eyes will be on Coach Prime and the CU Buffs. There are high expectations that have been set by CU. There have been high expectations that have been put out into the sports world, and now it's about backing it up. The Buffs have done a lot of talking. Can they do the walking? And we've got to see. They struggled last year after a hot start. Struggled to barely get over their line of 3.5 wins. Keep in mind, just like the Broncos, this is another team whose line is set at 4.5 wins. Maybe has moved up to 5.5 in recent weeks, but as of about a month and a half ago, the Buffs were sitting at 4.5 wins. This is still a team with low expectations that they are looking to exceed and kind of prove some folks wrong. We'll see. But things are about to kick off, and they're going to get the chance to do that. I'm looking forward to getting college football fired up this weekend as well, because, again, I'm just looking forward to watching some games that matter. All due respect to our great MLB folks. I just can't keep up with it every day. I try to keep up with as much baseball as I can, but there's just too much of it. We'll be anxiously watching as college gets kicked off this weekend. Shifting gears completely here, Cristiano Ronaldo. We mentioned it earlier. Now, look. Jay showed me this video yesterday of Ronaldo announcing his YouTube page, and we were both laughing at it. And then we went to the YouTube page and saw the numbers. Here's the video.
What's up, guys? I have a big surprise for you. I have a new YouTube channel.
Oh, genius!
You are Cristiano. Go to YouTube, search You Are Cristiano, and subscribe. You are Cristiano.
So that was his video announcing that he's got a YouTube channel. And we were kind of laughing, and I was like, but the tough part is when you're that type of celebrity, when you have that type of celebrity status, you can really kind of do whatever you want. People will click on it. Ha ha ha. Folks. And I'm going to get the most up to the minute numbers. Ronaldo is just shy of 23 million subscribers in just a little bit over 24 hours. Shattered the YouTube record for fastest channel to hit 20 million subscribers. Beating Mr. Beast, maybe the most famous, maybe the most popular YouTuber on the internet, or at least was for a while. What was it, Jay? 2 years? 2 years for Mr. Beast hit 20 million? Just about 24 months. Ronaldo did it in 24 hours. Now, look, I'm not going to judge him. The content on the channel is... it's not for me. But one of his most popular videos is... So he announced this yesterday, and one of his most popular videos right now is him already receiving a YouTube play button and showing his kids. So I guess I don't know anything about anything, and Ronaldo's just kind of the man. 20 million subscribers in 24 hours. All right, wrapping it up here, moving quick, going a little bit long, but hey, that's all right. We got nothing else to do. Jamal Murray, he's been a popular topic around here. You've heard our very own Liv Moods talk a bit about him, and he was a popular topic around Denver going back. Well, I mean, he's always a popular topic around Denver, but specifically that Minnesota Timberwolves series in which the Nuggets were eliminated in 7 games. Jamal Murray really struggled, in fact, disappearing for long stretches. Questionable to play in certain games, had the ice pack wrapped around his calf, in shoot-arounds and warm-ups, things like that. And when the season ended, it wasn't presented as an excuse. But it was definitely noted. Jamal Murray's been injured. Jamal Murray was really battling. He was really fighting through something. And then he went and played for Canada at the Olympics and did not take the summer to rest and recover and get away from the game. Spent, in fact, the opposite. Summer getting ready to go to the Olympics, to play for Team Canada. And look, I don't think anyone's going to sit here and tell him you were wrong to do that. I don't think anyone's going to tell him you got to make better choices, but I think the message is obvious. Now you've really got to ramp it up. And now you've really got to do what you need to do to make sure you're ready come the most important time of the year. Our very own Liv Moods had Nuggets insider sideline, Nuggets savant, and maybe the queen of the Denver Nuggets, Katie Winge, here in studio yesterday, and they talked a little bit about Jamal Murray.
Season.
I think it's essential that he does whatever he needs to do right now to get as healthy as humanly possible.
So this is an important month, right? This very minute.
2 months, 3 months.
Okay.
He absolutely was hurting more than he spoke of, I would say. And not making excuses for him, that,
right.
His choice to continue to kind of play through some of that pain, and I respect him for it. I really do. He 1,000% understands that his contributions are a major factor in this team's success. Huge. And he knows that. And to me, this is one of those situations where you have to be smart with him throughout the entire season. I'm not just talking about right now. I'm just talking about the beginning of the season. You have to make sure that he is doing whatever he needs to do to make sure his body is in the best shape possible come playoff time.
Yeah.
Like I said, the queen of the Denver Nuggets, Katie Winge, in here yesterday. Make sure you guys go check out that full interview here on the Guerilla Sports YouTube channel. Just fantastic stuff from Liv and Katie. But look, you could tell by the way that Katie was talking there, I think that's going to kind of be the sentiment. We're not going to tell you were wrong for doing that. We're not going to tell you shouldn't have gone to represent your country, et cetera, et cetera. What we are going to tell you is, okay, you made those decisions. Great. Fantastic. Now you have to take it upon yourself to do everything you can to get back to be the Jamal Murray that the Denver Nuggets not only want you to be, but need you to be. Yes, if you have Nikola Jokic, you are always in the fight, and you're always going to have a chance. And you add Russell Westbrook, who's going to be a nice complementary piece. You have Aaron Gordon. You're looking for Christian Brown to take another step. Jamal Murray, he's the key to all of that. If you don't have Jamal Murray going the way that he can, the way that we've seen, the way that he looks when he plays against the Lakers, I don't really think much of that other stuff makes a ton of a difference. Will the Broncos or the Nuggets be competitive? Absolutely. Are they a playoff team? Of course. Are they a championship contender with Jamal Murray looking the way that he did against the Timberwolves? And I think you just kind of have to say no. Make sure to check out that full interview with Liv Moods and Katie Winge. They unpack all of that, and the Jamal Murray conversation goes well beyond the clip that we just showed. But it's on Jamal now. You've got about 5 weeks till NBA training camps really start picking up. What he does over the next month and beyond is on him to make sure that he can be the most effective come playoff time. And if that means taking, the next month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months to make sure he's there, then that's what he needs to do. You made your decisions in the summer. You went and played at the Olympics. You represented your country. That's great. That's fine. We can all understand that. You have a responsibility to your team, to this city of Denver, and to that organization to get yourself right and be the player that they need you to be. We'll see. Pressure's on Jamal. All right. Ran about 5 minutes long. I do apologize, guys. Sorry about that, Jay. Ran a little bit over today, but hey, wanted to make sure that we were getting you guys all the updates from this week. That's the other way that you can tell we made it. The news keeps flowing in every single week. Trying to incorporate a little bit more multimedia into our shows here so you guys don't have to stare at my silly face all the time. As always, guys, let us know what you want to see. Let us know what you want to hear out of all of our content. We're here to serve you folks. We want to make sure that this is the content you guys are wanting to see. Like I said, at noon, about an hour and a half from now, I'll sit down and do a live Q&A on all things Colorado Avalanche and NHL. We'll go for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. We went for an hour last time. We'll see. We'll answer your questions till they're gone. But I'm going to put out that call right now. If you guys want to get any questions in, if you can't tune in for the live at noon, you can do that as well. But I'll be back chatting with you guys here in just a little bit. We got Jay back there running the board. There he is. What a guy. For Jay, I'm Jesse Montaño. Thanks. And you know who we don't give enough shout-outs to, Jay? John. We don't give enough shout-outs to John. He's always pulling this stuff together here in the morning, him and Mark making sure that all this stuff works. So big shout-out to those two as well. For Jay, I'm Jesse Montaño. This is Guerilla Sports Daily. Live Moods. We'll close out the week for you guys tomorrow. Have a great end of the week. Have a great weekend. We'll see you guys on Monday. Have a good one.